I just got finished being interviewed on somebody else's podcast. It's nice not to be in the driver's seat sometimes. And the host described his day to me. He told me how, what time he got up in the morning, how hard he worked during the day, what he did in the evening. And he had a pretty rough schedule. And he says to me, Mark, am I working too hard? Am I pushing it too hard? And he says, I'm not the hustle and grind kind of guy, but I do work really hard. And I didn't really want to answer his question directly because I don't know if he's working too hard. The truth is, I don't know. So what I said was, that's a question that you have to answer for yourself. My question always to clients and to people who ask me that is, where is your come from? What is your working hard coming from? How does it feel in your body? So if you're coming from fear, if you're coming from a should, if you're coming from desperation, when you're burning the candles at both ends, when you're working really, really, really hard, that's a good clue that you're working too hard, that you're working for the wrong reasons. If you feel expansive, if you feel comfortable, if you feel good and energized working hard, then that you're probably working on something that you love, that you want to do, and you're there by choice. So I work 7 days a week. I just do. I work every day, almost every day of my life. I work on vacation. I do take vacations. I do take days off. I do take time off, but I work 7 days a week because most of the time I'm doing what I love to do. When I have some free time, I want to go to my office and write. I want to go and make a video. I want to go and edit something. I love my coaching. I want to talk, I love, I'm not a chit chat person, but I'll coach all day, every day. I love being on my dog walks on the phone with someone who needs my help, right? That's not work to me. And by the way, it is wear and tear on my body, even though I do need recovery time. But let's go back to that really, what is going on in your body when you're working that hard? Are you tight, right? Do you feel desperate? Do you feel like the hammer is going to drop if you don't do what you're doing? Now, sometimes the hammer is going to drop and you're on a deadline. Like I'm writing the Rising Leader Handbook right now, and I'm on deadline. And every day I have my friends and my support group keeping me on track because the ADHD is going crazy. So I'm actually going past my comfort zone to get this done because I am on deadline. But if you're always feeling like you're on deadline, if you're always feeling desperate, then that's something to look at. And then we talked about slowing down. And that, my coach, Rich Litfin, way back when I first started working with him, he said, slow down to speed up. And I got what he meant, slow down to speed up. I totally got it, but I didn't really get it. It took me writing only tens. It took me years to really understand that when you slow down, that gives you the opportunity to calibrate. Because again, one of the things that the host said is that he likes to work hard, but he wants to make sure he's working hard on the right things. I said, well, if you're burning the candles both ends and grinding it out, how do you stop and calibrate to know you're working on the right things? If you don't slow down, if you don't take time in the mornings, and he told me that every morning he took a wonderful, a nice walk on his farm. So beautiful. So you got an opportunity to let your intuition, you let your gut, you let something else. I mean, you get spaciousness so that you can pick and choose. Because if you're just running really, really hard, you don't know where you're pointing your arrow. You just know you're going hard. If you stop and pause during the day, you get a cup of coffee and you just sit and breathe and stay off your phone. If you do a little journaling, if you take a little walk, if you go to the gym, right? That inspiration that always comes to you, you can recalibrate and make sure that you're pointing towards the right thing. When I wrote Only Tens, before I wrote the book, I made a commitment because I'm all things to all people all the time, and I was letting people down and I was overwhelmed all the time. I made this commitment that I was only going to do tens. I wasn't going to do seven, eights, or nines. Definitely wasn't going to do twos. I was only going to do what Derek Sivers calls hell yes, right? I'm a hell yes, I will do it. And what I found was when I slowed down and I only did the things that were 100% a hell yes, a 10, this intuition would show up. This this guidance to call a prospect, this guidance to create a piece of material that would resonate with people. Something else showed up. Spaciousness shows up, and it's actually what Jeff Spencer. If you listen to a couple episodes ago, Dr. Jeff Spencer was on, and he talked about receivership. So slowing down allows you to be in receivership so that something else can help you along. He says it's the best kept secret. Now he coaches like Richard Branson and U2 and Tiger Woods. So it's not like he doesn't coach successful people. But he says that's a superpower. If you can uh, tap into that receivership, and for me, it's that intuition, that guidance. It's not woo. The host of the podcast says, I'm not into this woo stuff, but when my best ideas come on my walk, I'm like, it's not woo. It's just you have an opportunity to think. You have an opportunity to make choices. So slow down, take breaks, take days off. If you feeling like that desperation, check your motivation. What fear is driving you. On the podcast, they always ask me about the homeless thing and why I work so hard and crashed and burned. I work so hard because I was running away from that homeless guy. I didn't want people to know that homeless guy. That's cotton candy. That's not fuel, right? That's not fuel to work on. That's something that's going to destroy you. Back to Dr. Jeff Spencer, when we were talking about the hustle and grind culture, he's like, that's bullshit. The hustle and grind culture is bullshit. It's a lie. It's a myth. He says, your body can take 10 years, 20 years, it can take decades of wear and tear and not tell you that something's happening to it. It masks the toll that this stress and the pushing yourself takes on you. And eventually it blows up. It could take 10 years, it could take 20 years, it could take 30 years, but you're gonna blow up and you're gonna take yourself out of the game and you're gonna wind up 10 steps back. And so you might as well take your time, pace yourself, and grow at that pace. And again, I listen to Jeff Spencer. He had me wrapped around his finger. So slow down, take care of yourself, put yourself on the list, allow your intuition, allow your gut to show up, check your come from, and you will get further. You will be, you'll have sustainable energy. You'll have sustainable motivation, and life will be a little bit more fun. This interview was really eye opening for me. In the back and forth, it was really interesting. So thank you for listening. I love you a ton, which is why I do this. Have a great rest of the day.